Okay. All right. So I hope everyone on here is here to hear about Life to Eagle and that process. If you're not, then, you know, stick around. You might learn something. My name is Jennifer Meeks, and I am the northern region of Eagle Valley, their Eagle Board of Review chairperson. So as part of my wood badge training, I saw that there was a need to better train and make aware the needs of the Life Scout and Scoutmasters, committee chairs, parents, in order to get the Life Scout through to Eagle and make that process a little bit more seamless and get the information out there. And being part of the Eagle Board of Review has shown me that, you know, there's a lot of communication shortages. And I think that if you're participating in this webinar, I think that that is going to take some of those communication shortages out and make this process a lot smoother for you, maybe as a parent, a leader, a scout. So no matter what your position is or what your role is in scouting, whether you're the parent, the scout, or a leader, I think this webinar is going to be beneficial for you to kind of maybe answer some questions that you might have to make the process of going from Life to Eagle a little bit smoother for you. So without further ado, so no matter where you're at, here, I got somebody coming in here. Here we go. No matter where you're at on the journey of scouting, whether you're starting from Lion or if you started at Lion, or if you I guess you wouldn't be. Lion just started a couple of years ago, but if you started as a Star Scout or as a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old, and you had to jump into scouting later on, you may not have been a Cub Scout, but as soon as you hit Life Scout, it becomes a very important time frame because you're older. Usually you've got a lot of things going on in high school. And so to make the process smoother, I think is extremely important. And so no matter where you're at on that journey in life and in scouting, we want to make sure that your process to get Eagle is one that you learn something from and enjoy, and it's extremely beneficial. So that's what my goal is for tonight, is that you take something, even just one thing away from this webinar that you can make your journey to Eagle as a scout a lot smoother and enjoy the process. So let's see here. There we go. So and you know, and a lot of this, if you're a leader or a parent, you know, sit back and enjoy the ride. I would love to answer questions for you, but right now I'm really talking to the scouts. The scouts take a upfront role in this, and so it's time for them to take the helm, and this is their Eagle Scout, and we'll talk about that some more, but I'm going to be talking mostly to the scouts tonight. So so I want you to understand the process. So you've earned life rank, so now what? You know, you've worked your way to this goal. I'm sure life rank was probably a goal of yours to begin with. And now you're a life rank. So now what? What happens? What can you expect? First of all, you are going to receive a checklist from the council, or you should. You should absolutely. Once your life rank is recorded at the council office, you're going to receive a checklist. And the most important thing that you can learn in this process is to use your resources, all of them. Your resources are going to be your leaders, your unit leaders. If they don't know, they can go up the chain of command to commissioners, to district executives, to the council office, to the workers there, and to the advancement chairs, and the board of review chairs. So use your resources. Those people can all be located by calling the scout office. And if you're the scout, you call the Scout office, you ask for those people, ask the questions to the people, the professionals there, and they will get you our names and numbers. The most important website as a Life to Eagle candidate is www.mississippivalleybsa.org/resources. You're going to see that a lot through this presentation. So what we're going to do right now is I am actually going to try to get there. Hold on. I want to show you. Hold on. Here, okay, hold on. I know. This is my first time doing a presentation, so hold on. Like, there we go. Can you all see my screen still? Are you seeing a Google screen? Or are you seeing?
We're seeing the PowerPoint.
You're still in the PowerPoint? Okay.
Yep.
New share. Okay, here we go. Okay, now you should be seeing my Google screen. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so you're just going to go to www.mississippivalleybsa.org/resources. This is one of the most important places that you are going to visit on your Life to Eagle journey. So on the resources page, you see there is an Eagle Scouts link. That is your resource for everything that you need to get through this, to accomplish your goals. I'll highlight a lot of these throughout the presentation, but here's Eagle Scout Project Workbook. You're going to want to download it directly from here. Here's your Eagle Scout rank application, your reference letter. Here's your Eagle Palm application. But most importantly right now, here's your Eagle Scout checklist. This is what you should receive from the council office. This is where you are going to come for every step of the way. If you do these things in order and follow this list, you will absolutely have success and be able to complete every task you need to complete in order to earn Eagle rank. So let's see here. So as the list itself, you're going to go down the list. You're going to download the Eagle Scout workbook, okay? Let's see. And you're going to develop a plan for your project. You're going to submit your project proposal. We're going to go through all those steps. And I'll reference this many, many times tonight. Okay, let me go back. Oh, shit. Shush. Okay, so we're going to talk about the requirements of Eagle rank. So you have to do these 7 things in order to go from Life to Eagle. One is you have to have active participation. You're going to need Scout spirit. You're going to need your position of responsibility. You're going to need merit badge, the number of merit badges, your Eagle Scout service project itself, and you're going to need to fill out the Eagle Scout rank application, and then you're going to need to fulfill your Eagle Scout board of review. All of these need to be completed before the age of 18, except for the Eagle Scout board of review. That can be completed after your 18th birthday. So the first one, active participation. You must be active as a Life Scout for at least 6 months, and you should know the unit's expectations for active participation. So each unit can kind of set their own rules about what dictates that they're active. A lot of units work around like basketball schedules and things like that. So 100% requirement of participation in all outings and all troop meetings and all patrol meetings and things like that. That's the unit sets those expectations of what your active participation is. So know those active participation expectations from your unit, and then be active as a Life Scout for 6 months. Now, Scout Spirit, you are going to live the ideals of the Scout Oath, the Scout Law, the Scout Motto, and the Scout Slogan. And these ideals are going to be reviewed through reference letters that are attached to your Eagle rank application. So when you submit at the end your Eagle Scout application, your Eagle rank application, you will also submit reference letters from people that know you personally. And those letters will indicate how well you live the ideals of the Scout Oath and the Scout Law, and whether you're a prepared individual, and whether you're trustworthy and things like that. So that is Scout Spirit. Your position of responsibility. You need to successfully serve 6 months or more in an approved position of responsibility. And for scouts in a troop, those approved positions are as listed there. A lot of scouts usually will try to get to be a senior patrol leader, an assistant senior patrol leader, troop guides, den chiefs is one. Not approved are the OA chapter and lodge positions as listed there. So I want you to beware though of do nothing positions. So if you are a librarian in your unit, in your troop, and your troop does not have a library, that's a concern, because then you really don't have any responsibility. The position of responsibility is just that. You have to have a responsibility. You have to be fulfilling a role in your unit. You have to be a leader. You're showing leadership. That's what this is all about. You're learning leadership in your unit. So if you're a historian and you don't know anything about the BSA's history, or maybe even your unit's history, that's a concern. These are questions that could come up at your board of review based on what position you held in your unit. So if you're questioned about the position of responsibility that you held and you have no idea about the position that you held, that's going to be a big concern. So make sure that you're holding a position that has responsibilities, and responsibilities that you can fulfill, and participate in that role. Be an active participant in that position. The merit badge requirements. There are 21 total merit badges required, and I think probably every Life Scout, every Scoutmaster probably knows these requirements. It's what's talked about the most. There are 13 required badges, and there are 8 optional badges. The 13 required can be picked from the following list. It's camping, citizenship in community, citizenship in the nation, citizenship in the world, communications, cooking, emergency preparedness, or life-saving. So you can pick one of those two: environmental science or sustainability, family life, first aid, swimming or hiking or cycling. You can pick one of those 3. Personal management, personal fitness. Now there probably will be one more added. It is the diversity badge. I don't know. I haven't heard yet if that is going to replace. I can't imagine it will. I think it will be added to. I'm not sure about that yet, but I do think that will be added in a probably within the next year, I think, is when it's coming in as a requirement. So that total number of merit badges could go up based on that. Now, the 8 optional badges, you have your choice then of the remaining merit badges, which 8 you want to do. Now, if you did emergency preparedness and life-saving, the one that you did not use as your required badge can be one of your optional badges. So you have 17 choices of required badges on this list. You have to do 13 of them, but the other 4 can be optional badges if you complete them. Okay? Then you have your Eagle Scout project, which your requirements for the Eagle Scout project, and I know this is probably what everybody's dying to hear about, is to plan, develop, and give leadership to others in service of your community. There are 3 ways of doing this. You can have the scout, the scout, can choose your own project. I personally, and there might be debate about this, but I personally believe that I love it when a scout comes to a board of review and the scout has chosen and sought out his own project. He went out into the community, he saw a need in the community, and he went and talked to the people about the community members or a board about improving your community based on you looking around and seeing the need around you. You sought out the improvement that needed to be made. I think you're going to be more passionate about your project because you saw the need, you saw that something needed to be accomplished, and then you went out and you accomplished it. So I really think that that's going to lead to a better project. Now you can also approach an organization for ideas. So if you really feel strongly about supporting the local fire department, you can approach the fire department and say, hey, I'm looking for an Eagle Scout project. I don't know what I really want to do, but I know I want to support you. So is there anything around here that you need accomplished that you would like to have me do a project and lead it? And these are the requirements that I need to fulfill. And the fire department can, say, yeah, we've got XYZ project that we need you to do. So that's another approach that you can take. The third way of doing it would be that you work from a qualified organizations list. I know that this does happen, and it's fine. There's some great projects that happen because organizations know that Eagle Scouts are out there and available and need projects, and they have a list that they just maintain. A lot of, the conservation organizations have a list that they maintain so that when an Eagle Scout approaches them, here's a list. Why don't you pick from the list? The only thing I would caution you on about that would be that some organizations, I don't want an organization taking advantage of Eagle Scouts or Eagle Scout candidates for free labor. And that would be my only cautionary tale for you, would be for that. I do have another aspect of that would be that when an organization already has a list made up, they oftentimes already know what they want. They already have the plans drawn up. They've already done the planning and developing on that project, and they just want you to come in and do it for them. And that takes a lot of the aspect away from the important aspects of the Eagle Scout project, which you want to be able to plan and develop. It's not just about leadership, but it's also about the entire package. It's about taking it from the beginning to all the way to the end and seeing it all the way through. So be mindful when you pick your project and you start thinking about what you want for a project. Be mindful that you are the one that is planning and developing. And then when you do the project, you are the one that is showing leadership. Carry that project from beginning to end. So project considerations. You're going to want to avoid routine labor and maintenance, things that need to be done anyway. Think beyond painting a fence or painting a building. Sometimes those qualify, depends on the project. Don't be afraid to propose a project. It may not fulfill the requirements, but we can always say no. But I would like for you, and I'm sure that all the Eagle Board chairs and committee members would prefer that you avoid routine maintenance of buildings and properties. Always think bigger, think better. Make it a project that's going to stand out for a very long time, because Years from now, you're going to want to look back and see that your project stood the test of time, and that it didn't have to be repainted 5 years later. Do a project that's going to be something that you can point out to others, even your own kids later on in life, and say, I did that. That was my project. So you want to consider the size of the project. Too small, don't make it too small, because we may ask you to go back and rethink it. If you want to make one duck box, that's great. What kind of an impact does that make? I want you to think about what kind of an impact that makes on the environment, what kind of an impact that makes on your community. What if you were to try to do 12 duck boxes instead? Consider the impact. It makes a bigger impact when you increase the size of your project. I also want you to consider the size of project, because you don't want to make it too big, because if you make it too big, then it's unattainable. You get frustrated and you may want to quit. And that's not at all what this is about. So you want to make sure that your project is just the right size for your abilities and feasibility. Is it realistic? Like realistic for your volunteers? Can they make it happen? Can you get enough volunteers for the size of your project? Don't make it so big that you'll never get it done. Make sure it's attainable. And like I said earlier, you must use the Eagle Scout Service Project Workbook, which is back. See if I can do this again. Let's see here.
Wait, I want to see what he looks like walking around.
So back here, this is your checklist. Let me go back. So this is your resources page. Eagle Scout Project Workbook, right here. You're going to download it from the Mississippi Valley BSA.org website. This will ensure that you are using the correct workbook. If you don't use the correct workbook, if you get on Google and ask for Eagle Scout Project Workbook, you could very well get the wrong information. The wrong council could have pre-populated information. It just ends in a mess, and we have to send it back sometimes. It's not a good thing. Always come to the Mississippi Valley Council's website to grab the workbook and any documentation that you need, because it will be what you need, and it will be the most updated information for our council. So the workbook, go ahead and open it, hopefully. Of course it's not going to.
Jennifer, you got to follow those instructions on that previous page.
Yeah.
Where you got to right click on it and do a save as.
Didn't need to do that when I was testing this before, but Zoom always seems to mess with my head. Okay. So here is the Eagle Scout Service Project Workbook. You are going to not only download this workbook, but you're going to use the on-screen prompts to fill it in. We will accept handwritten workbooks, but we prefer greatly a typewritten project workbook, because it is so much easier to read. Now, there are times where I enjoy reading someone's handwritten stuff, because I know that they filled it out and not their mom, because I can read mom handwriting. And so I do like seeing it in a kid's handwriting, but at the same time, it's so much easier to read, and we can read the information much more clearly when you fill it out online. So we do prefer this. Let's see here. In this project workbook, I highly encourage you to read through everything. It's not only encouraging to read the message from the Chief Scout Executive, who I don't believe he is any longer, but it's still, it hasn't been updated. But it's the instructions. It's like any class in school. Read the instructions first. It's going to tell you absolutely everything you need to know on how to use this workbook and and fill it out. So it's got a little blurb on every single page.
Hey,
So
Jennifer,
yes.
are you showing that? Because on our screen, it just says a save as.
No
prompt.
kidding. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, guess what? Do you want to see me go dog man on this?
When you did that right click to
okay.
save
Oh,
as,
okay. Yeah.
it's stuck on that.
Okay. How about now?
There you go.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So here's your Eagle Scout Service workbook, project workbook. I bet that looks a lot better. And so you're going to click in here and fill it in. So like, I'm not an Eagle Scout candidate, but here's my name. And the name of your project, which let's just say duck boxes for Adams County Conservation. So you're just going to give it a name. And then, but here, this is where you're going to read through the message. You're going to read through the instructions on how to fill out the workbook. All right. It indicates the expectations as well for scouts and their parents. So let me go through. Okay. All right. So let me go back here to back over. All right. So the project plan itself, or the project workbook, of course, use only the workbook from Mississippi Valley Council. Go to our website, MississippiValleyBSA.org/resources. Remember, that is the one going to be a super important website for you. All right. So the project proposal itself, I want to just go over that a little bit. The project, I want to assure you first that the project reviews are conducted in a friendly and kind-hearted manner. Something that the council wanted me to convey to you is that we are simply volunteers. We are parents. We are community members. We are leaders. The board of review is made up of volunteers. I'm a scout mom. I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old in the program. My dad was a Scoutmaster. My brother is an Eagle Scout. And so that's why I love scouting so much. I wanted my kids to be in it. And so when my kids became old enough, I put them in it. And somebody wrangled me at the council, and I jumped in feet first. And now I'm on the Eagle Board of Review. I absolutely love what I do, but I'm a parent. I'm a volunteer. I'm not a scouting professional, and neither is anyone else on our board. The board is made up of community members, leaders, ex-scouts, Eagle Scouts. So it can be just about anyone, and we'll discuss that too. But so when we do reviews of the proposals that come through for your projects, they're looked at. We're looking at them, trying to follow the requirements of the BSA, but we're doing it in a manner that is absolutely above board, kind-hearted, caring. We care about your proposals. We want you to have the best experience possible, and we want your project to turn out really, really well. So when we scrutinize your project, it's not because we're angry or don't want you to succeed. It's because we do want you to succeed. We want to send and we want you to be better because of your project. So if we send something back to you, it's not because we're upset over what you proposed or we don't like the way you did it. It's because we want it to be better for you. So once you come up with your proposal, I'm sure I want you to know that it's never too early to start talking about your Eagle Scout project. Even I had it suggested to me by a Scoutmaster here very recently that even like Star Scouts should start talking about their project proposals. And that's great. You absolutely should. You should start talking to your unit leaders and your parents about what you want your project to be. When you don't have to wait until you're a Life Scout. And because I mean, we've even started talking about with my kids, you know, I have a Weeblos, and you know, it's kind of fun to like kind of look around the community and see, oh, that would make a good Eagle Scout project. So when you decide what your Eagle Scout proposal is going to be, your project proposal is going to be, you're going to fill out that first part of your workbook, and you're going to make copies of it. Absolutely keep copies of everything, because we're human, and the council office is made up of professionals, but they're human too. And sometimes things just get lost in the shuffle. And so if you keep copies and you see that something's not happening, then you have those copies to provide to us again if something does happen. We try very, very hard not to let anything happen, but it can. So make copies, keep copies on file. We expect you to keep there's a good expectation of planning. We want you to plan ahead. Your proposal should be planned, you know, well in advance. The planning work, the proposal workbook itself should help you through that planning process. We don't expect you to have everything thought out down to the nail on your project, but good planning is going to make your project even better. So when you come up with schematics, drawings, plans, maps of what things are going to look like, the more you have and the more you've thought about it, the more you've planned out, the better your project's going to turn out too. And the easier it is for us to, as on the board of review, to look at your project and see how it's going to turn out in our heads, so that we can kind of gauge if we think it's going to work out for you, and whether or not you need to kind of go back to the drawing board. One of the projects that I can think of right now that kind of had that happen was a scout. Let's just say a scout comes across and says, I want to do a gaga pit. Now, most of us know what a gaga pit is because Camp Eastman's got one, and kids all love it. Kid says, I want to do a gaga pit, and I want it to be a portable gaga pit. Has no drawings, no schematics, no size. Well, it's like, well, what are you going to make the gaga pit out of? What size is it going to be? How are you going to make it portable? Those are all things that you need to think about and plan and put down in your proposal, so that there's no misconceptions on how that's going to go through. Another thing, in order to get your proposal approved, is check your email. Especially during COVID times, we are using email to communicate. With youth protection training and youth protection issues where we have to have 2 deep leadership, it can be difficult for me to make a phone call because I have to have my husband here to make a phone call to you as a scout. So it's because I always have him here when I make phone calls if it comes down to that. But when I send an email, I can simply CC or put another leader on that email to you. So I do a lot of emailing back and forth with scouts. You put the email you use on your proposal and your application, that is the email we are going to use to communicate with you. So please, please, please check your email. And if you're expecting an approval coming through, or you know your application's been sent in, check your spam if you're not hearing from us. If you're not hearing from us, then you, the scout, needs to call the scout office and ask them what the status is, and then it gets fed through the line of leaders very quickly. You know, what did you do? Where is it? Like, so we talk to each other very quickly to track down paperwork, and then we can get back to you right away. But that's super important. Check your email and make sure you provide a good email on your application. Don't be afraid of asking questions and don't be afraid of rejections. The rejections, like I said, are not because we enjoy rejecting projects. It's because we want your project to be so awesome that when you look back on it and you get it done, it was super successful. So don't be afraid of a rejection on a proposal. And most likely it's just going to be questions from us, like, did you think of this? Did you think of that? Or we would like for it to be bigger. We would like for it to be, you know, XYZ. So don't be afraid of that, because it happens to a lot of scouts, and it's just because we want your projects to be good and be successful. So don't be afraid of our questions, but I want to also stress, don't be afraid to ask questions. I am always, especially through email, I'm always available for questions about the process. If you have any questions about what you should fill in or how you should do something, or you know, like, hey, what do you think? What do you think about this idea? I'm always open to that. I'm sure the other leaders, and I'm sure your unit leaders are too. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Asking questions is a huge, it's a huge thing to learn when you're being a leader, that you don't have to know everything. Stopping and having the courage to ask questions when you're a leader shows that you're ready to be a leader. So a very, very, very important thing, and I want to stress this, do not start your project early. And I should have proofread that. Do not start your project early. If you start your project early, it will result in a rejection of the project, and you will start a different project. And I hope you heard me say that, because I'm going to say it, but I'm going to say it again. Do not start your project early. You have to have the approval of the district board of review before you start your project. So it has happened. We have sent back a proposal because we knew the kid started his project early, and we said, you have to pick out a different project and do something else. It's not easy to do. I don't want to do it. I don't like to do it. So don't start your project early. Okay, so with that said, you have your project plan. Hold on, I'm sorry. So once you have approval from the board of review to start your project, you can start filling out your project plan. Okay. The critical issues. So the goal of the project plan is to ensure that the critical issues of your project are understood and resolved. That all preparation tasks are described in detail. That your leadership roles and responsibilities are defined. That you have a clear step-by-step process of what you want this project to be like. You want to have a level of detail so that you understand absolutely how everything is going to play out. Once your project plan, once your proposal and project plan is prepared, you want to present it to your beneficiary. Now, your beneficiary is the company or the organization that you're doing the project for or working with. You want to make sure that the beneficiary is happy with your proposal and happy with your plan of attack on the project. The beneficiary absolutely has the right to ask something different. so this, I mean, because this is their property that you're affecting and doing their project for. So they absolutely have the power to change your project. Now, if it's something minor, it's not something that's going to be a huge issue. But if it is something that changes the scope of your project, you must represent your project to the Board of Review in order to have it approved again. So if the beneficiary makes a huge change in your project, makes it bigger, takes away something that was a huge component, you need to go back and resubmit your proposal to the council office, and they'll route it to the Board of Review. So the, let's see, the project plan. There are 5 tests for the Eagle Scout Service Project that, so to help you know that you're on the right track. Can the requirements be met? Is it a feasible project? Are you, when you start planning it, is it going to be something that you personally will be able to plan, develop, and lead to a successful conclusion? There's been some projects where there have been kids that needed heavy equipment like bulldozers and things on. If you don't have access to that kind of heavy duty equipment, your project may not be a feasible one for you. So can the requirements be met of the project? And is the project feasible? Like I said, if you don't have access to the equipment and the people to run it, then your project needs to be rethought. Are there any safety concerns? Our board, personally, I can tell you that the Northern Eagle Valley board that I chair is very, very cognizant and concerned about safety. If you do not mention in your proposal that you read the guide to safe scouting and have considered the constraints that puts on a project, then we will most likely return your project or ask you to review the guide to safe scouting so that we know that you are fully aware of what your requirements are to adhere to it. So safety is of the utmost concern. We want you to be successful in your project, but if it is not a safe project, then it will be rejected. Is there a detailed plan? So the project plan, if it's not detailed enough, you're going to hit a lot of stumbling blocks along the way. So the more detailed your plan is, the better off you're going to be, because you'll be able to follow it step by step and complete it. Is a scout on the right track for a successful outcome? So if you can sit down and follow your plan from start to finish, and you see a successful outcome at the end of that project, then you're probably on the right track. When you conduct the project, the project first, of course, must be approved by the district. Make sure that approval is in place. The Eagle candidate must be the project leader to at least 2 others. So if you go out and your project is to install duck houses, and you go out and your mom takes you out in the family vehicle and you nail a duck box to a post and you say done, that is not showing leadership. It has to at least have 2 other people plus yourself. And we would like for those volunteers, we would like for you to use other scouts as your volunteers. They can use that as service hours, and having peer-to-peer leadership is extremely important. A lot of projects end up being adults, but like the scout leading the adults, which can be difficult. It brings a different dynamic. But if you are leading people of your same age group, it's extremely important. And it brings the other scouts into an Eagle Scout project and kind of gives them an idea of how things work, so that when they come up to their Eagle Scout project, you know, then there's a continuity. And please do not forget that 2 deep leadership is required, as is any scouting activity. An Eagle Scout project is like any scouting activity, and it requires 2 deep leadership to be present to complete your project. So then you have your Eagle Scout service project report, and it's found right there at MississippiValley.bsa.org, or sorry, MississippiValleyBSA.org/resources. The project report describes what's actually done and what lessons were learned. So this is going to be like a follow-up report. It's going to be what changes had to be made, what adjustments had to be made, what worked, what didn't. The project beneficiary and the unit leaders sign this to document that the project is satisfactory and complete. And we on the Eagle Board of Review would like for you to submit your entire plan and project report to the council office, along with your Eagle Rank application, in order so that we can review it and see, so we can follow the project the entire way through too. Because when you propose it, we get an idea in our minds, just as you did. And by reading the report, we get to see and learn your process in completing the project, and we get to see how things changed, maybe you struggled, maybe you didn't, maybe you had a light bulb go off and things kind of changed, and you made it for the better. So and then why, what happened, why did you decide to do things differently? Let's see here. So then once that project's done and you've gotten it done by the time you're 18, then you get to fill out the Eagle Scout rank application. Now, I would encourage you to fill out go ahead and, as a Life Scout, go ahead and print out the Eagle Scout rank application, print out the workbook, do a draft. Do a first draft, kind of fill it out, see where you have blanks, see where you have unknowns. If you don't know how to fill something out, now's the time to start filling in those blanks. Start writing down your merit badges in the merit badge blanks, because the information you have is easy to fill out, but the information you don't have, you may have to do some work to get it. If you start as a Life Scout and you start filling out the application and you start getting that information, it's going to be a lot easier to get it because you'll have so much more time. If you're scrambling to get that information, it's going to be a lot more difficult. So just go ahead right now, after this presentation, maybe tomorrow after school, this weekend, whatever, print the application, print the workbook, take a look at it, read through it all the way through, start writing down the information you know. And then start asking questions. Start asking questions of mom or dad or grandma, grandpa, your scout unit leaders. You can start asking questions and seeing how much information you can get filled out, because the more information you have, the easier it's going to be to fill out when you actually want to fill it in with your completed information. Make sure to complete the entire form. There are no blanks left behind. No blanks left behind. So you want to make sure, if it doesn't apply to you and you don't want to put anything in there, then you should always put not applicable, which means like N/A on the application, so that we know that you intentionally left it blank. I guarantee there are not going to be any NAs on an Eagle Scout rank application. And there shouldn't be too many NAs on your project workbook. So, but make sure there are no blanks left behind. We want all that information filled in. Now, once the Eagle Scout rank application is received, the Scout should deliver it, if possible, to the Scout office. The Scout office will process it, send it through to, it will go through a couple people. It will end up in the Board of Review's hands. It will end up in my hands or one of my counterparts. And we will contact people who are usually committee members, that are typical committee members that have volunteered to be on the Eagle Board of Review. And we will set a date, and we will then invite you to meet us there on that date, at the time, location, and date, time, and location that we are able to gather together to hold your Board of Review. The Guide to Advancement, which is, I've got a hard copy, I'll show you if you can see me. It's this. The Guide to Advancement sets the standards for conducting the Eagle Board of Review. So everything that we do is by the Guide to Advancement. The Eagle Board of Review is organized by the Regional Eagle Board of Review Chair. That is me for the Northern Eagle Valley. The Scouts should be in full uniform for their Eagle Board of Review. I know that's always been a question. But please, I mean, you should be a registered Scouter. You should be a registered Scouter all the way through your 18th birthday. If you are holding your Eagle Board of Review after your 18th birthday, you do not have to be a registered Scout any longer, but we may question you on that, so as to why you aren't. But we would prefer you be in full uniform for your Eagle Board of Review. Your parents may come, but we will ask them not to attend the actual interview in front of the Board of Review. I will tell you that you are entitled to have one parent at the interview if you have to have a parent there, but we highly discourage it. It's so important that you as the Scout take the head role in this, that you are showing your leadership and that you earned this, that you are the standout on this project. So if your parent were to attend, they would be placed behind you so that that you weren't distracted by them. And if the parent were to attend and speak, we would ask them to leave. So we highly discourage parents from actually attending the Board of Review, but they are absolutely, at least at the Northern Eagle Valley, we encourage parents to be there, unit leaders, to participate in the post Board of Review celebration, if you may. And I can talk about that a little bit, but the parents themselves would not be in the interview. So there's at least 3 members on the board, with no more than 6. And we don't want it to be a firing squad by any means, but we do have to have at least 3 people there. They're always going to be over 21. The boards are always made of volunteers, Scout leaders, people from the community. They don't have to be Scouters. They don't have to be leaders. They don't have to be registered with the BSA. They can be just community members that know the importance of what Eagle Scout means. So, but with that said, at least 2 members present are going to be youth protection trained according to YPT regulations. So you don't have to worry about that. So 2 of them are going to be registered Scouters, but they don't, like, not all have to be. At the Eagle Board of Review, the actual Board of Review itself, we don't have a predetermined script. We have just a general discussion. I have, he's probably on here. I don't see him right now, but he always likes to tell the scouts that the worst part is saying the oath and the law. We like to have our scouts say the oath and the law and lead us in those before, and the Pledge of Allegiance, before we begin our board of reviews. And he always likes to say that that's the worst part of the whole board of review, because we just hold a discussion. It's a really discussion on the scout's life and scouting experiences. We ask the scout to describe and evaluate their Eagle Scout project, their overall career in scouting, their plans for the future. We try to, we kind of try to evaluate and learn from the scout's experience. And I use it as a tool to go back and try to better our programming and better our recruitment and better the ways that we do things. So it's kind of like I kind of liken it to an exit interview at work. When an adult leaves a job, there a lot of times there's an exit interview where they try to, like, why are you leaving, So when an Eagle Scout comes up, or an Eagle Scout candidate comes up for a board of review, I really use it as a tool to kind of glean information from you as the scout as to what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy, and so we can make things even better for the next scout that comes up, and the next Lion Scout that starts. So we as a board, though, are required to decide whether or not your requirements have been met. Have you met all the requirements that it takes to become an Eagle Scout? It's something that is extremely important. The Eagle, I'll talk about it a little bit here in a second, but being an Eagle Scout means a lot. I always wanted to be an Eagle Scout. I'm not. Probably why I'm overcompensating with volunteering for the Scouts. Being an Eagle Scout is so important. My brother is an Eagle Scout, and he is now an Illinois State Trooper. He went to his interview for the Illinois State Police, and when they asked him about being an Eagle Scout and what it meant. And so I fully believe that he would not be an Illinois State Trooper if he hadn't had that on his resume. I work for the Hancock County Ambulance, and when I get resumes across my desk and I see Eagle Scout on their resume, it goes in a whole different pile of resumes, because it means something. It means something to me, and it means something to a lot of people, and it still does. And so you, as an Eagle Scout candidate, need to uphold what being an Eagle Scout means. So that is our requirement as the board, to make sure that your requirements are met, so that you yourself, we are keeping the Eagle Scout, what that means to be an Eagle Scout, at the utmost importance. Our decision as a board as to whether you have met the requirements must be unanimous. If there is one dissenting vote, we cannot pass you as an Eagle Scout. We cannot grant you the rank. We must be unanimous. And so it's extremely important to make sure you dot all of your I's and cross all of your T's when you're doing your project and your project proposal, and making sure you're fulfilling the requirements. So then, once you are approved, after national level approval, the council would receive your Eagle certificate, and then your court of honor can take place. Okay. So after, I know, let's see what's next here. Come on. I will say that that most board of reviews are favorable to the scout. And I will tell you also that the reason that a lot of them are favorable is because the hard work was done before the board of review. The board of review made sure your proposal made sense. It made sure that the board made sure you were on a path for success. Your unit leader was there to make sure and guide you through those important decisions and to make sure that your project was made sense and was on track. If we don't do our job as a board of review on the front side during the proposal period, then we set you up for failure. We don't want to do that. And that's why we may reject your project and send it back, but we're setting you up for success. And that way, when you get to our board of review and you stand in front of us and you talk about your project, it's a successful project. So we don't ever expect to have an unsuccessful board of review. It does happen and it can happen. But if you follow the Scout law and Scout oath and live that, then your project should be successful. But what happens if? Okay, there's always an if, there's always a but in life. If the requirements are not met, I would just instruct you to follow the direction of the Board of Review Committee. So if for any reason the Board of Review felt that your project did not fulfill the requirements or you did not fulfill the requirements of the Eagle rank in any way and we cannot grant your Eagle rank, we would not just kick you out the door and expect you to figure it out on your own. We are there to guide and help you through the process of figuring out what your next step is, and we would guide you on what your next step is. Okay, there are appeals, there are different things that you can do. I don't expect to have that happen. That's why I'm not going to go into detail as to how you file an appeal and things like that. So I'm just going to say that the Board of Review Committee would absolutely help you through the aftermath of when a requirement is not met. Okay? And if the project or application is denied, you would contact, if you don't agree with that, or if you need clarification, if there's any question, you can contact the District Eagle Chairman or the council office for direction. You can contact me. If you have a problem, we would absolutely answer all of your questions as much as we could. If there's an issue, though, that you want to take up the ladder, the District Eagle Chairman, our District Eagle Chairman for Eagle Valley is Jared Durbin, and he's on the phone, or on the Zoom meeting tonight with me, trying to keep me in line. So he's absolutely 100% there for every scout that needs assistance. So he would be one that you could reach out to. So one thing I would like to mention is something that we always mention to our scouts when they come up for Eagle rank and they are successful and we grant their Eagle rank. The Eagle Palms. For every 5 merit badges earned after the required 21, an Eagle Palm is earned. And now it's awarded alongside the Eagle rank if the merit badges have already been earned. And of course, guess where that application is found? It is found right next to all of the literature and documentation that you've already been pulling down. It's at MississippiValleyBSA.org/resources. So keep earning your merit badges. Don't stop. We always encourage our scouts at the Board of Review to keep going and give back. Give back to your community. Give back to the people who have given you so much on your journey to Eagle. There are kids behind you that are seeking to become exactly like you. And they want to be just like you. And so they need leaders to to give back to them what you have been given by the people that have stepped up to make sure that you got to Eagle. So then you get to party, you get to have the Court of Honor. Each unit has their own traditions, so I won't go into any kind of ceremonial things, but the scout and his parents usually organizes the ceremony. There's a lot of different ways of doing it, outside, inside, but there's usually, you really should have at least the Eagle Charge and the Eagle Promise in the Court of Honor. And you'll want to wait for the Court of Honor until after you get your Eagle Scout certificate from the council office. So, is the end? Not quite. Sorry, guys. I got some more for you. So, there are 3 people involved in tonight's webinar. We got the scout, got the parent, and got the leader. Those are the 3 people that really, really are involved in the scout success. The scout themselves, the parent, and the leader. I want you to ask yourself a really important question from each of your perspectives. If you're a parent, if you're a leader, if you're a scout, why? Why earn the Eagle rank? Why is it important to you? If it's not important to you, then maybe you shouldn't be earning it. And yes, I said it. Maybe you shouldn't be earning the Eagle rank. If it's not important to you, then you really need to consider why you're earning it, why you're working for it. If your parents are pushing you, if your leaders are pushing you, I mean, they understand how important it is. They really do. I know how important it is, and I know I'm going to be pushing my kids. But this is on you. You are the scout. You're earning it. Why do you want to earn it? When you stand among other Eagle Scouts, what is that going to mean to you? If it doesn't mean anything to you, then I would like for you to give yourself a heart-to-heart talk and see maybe you just haven't thought about it yet. Maybe you need to understand a little bit more what Eagle rank means. But you as a scout, this is your project. You have to do it. The council office, I'm going to be frank, the council office does not want to talk to your parents. The council office does not want to talk to your unit leader about your Eagle project. If it's your Eagle project, it is your Eagle project. You take 100% responsibility of it. You are the leader. You need to be calling the scout office. You need to be walking in there and asking questions. If there's a legitimate reason, of course your parents can call the scout office and ask, but the scout office would 100% prefer that you take responsibility over your destiny as an Eagle Scout and take responsibility over your project. Now, parents, I'm a parent, and probably my husband would tell me that I'm a hover parent. He's giving me a thumbs up. So yes, he thinks I'm a hover parent. So I know that I'm going to be pushing my kids, but you have to step back. You have to let them succeed or fail on their own. They have to find their way through the Eagle Scout project on their own, and they have to find their success in struggling through the questions and the problems and the issues and finding the answers. It's got to be their project. It is not your project. So you're going to have to take a step back, and I know that's hard. I really do, but this is their project, and so let them take that role, and they're going to be so much more proud of their project when they get done. They absolutely will. Now the leader's role, same deal. As a unit leader, as a Scoutmaster, you know, I've heard so many jokes about the gravity chair at camp, and sitting back and letting the scouts do their own thing. That's exactly what I want you to do. I want you to sit in your gravity chair, and I want you to let the scout take over his Eagle Scout project, and I want you to let them find their successes and their failures on their own, and they will get there. They will get there. We just have to let them. If you haven't let go of your scouts before life, it's time now. They have got to finish this on their own. Earning the Eagle rank means joining generations of Eagle Scouts. It's a group that holds value. It really does. The scout should want to uphold that value and stand proudly with the very few that have become Eagle Scouts before them. It should be a treasured achievement. Eagle Scout is not an award. It's not. It is a state of being. We will ask what the phrase "an eagle's journey never ends." What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you as a leader? What does that mean to you as a scout? What does it mean to you as a person? I'm not an Eagle Scout, but an eagle's journey never ends. Like, that means something to me. And so I want to make sure that my role as the Board of Review Chair, I'm upholding that meaning to the scouts that come in front of us. And make sure that they know when they leave how important their character is when they leave that Board of Review, and how they handle themselves for the rest of their lives as an Eagle Scout. How important that is. So another thing that we like to say a lot is, once an Eagle, always an Eagle. Like I said, you leave that Board of Review an Eagle Scout that night. After your Board of Review, you will always be an Eagle. You will always be an Eagle Scout. And what does that mean? Does it mean that you forget everything that you've learned up until that night? Or does it mean that you continue using the tools and the knowledge that you learned along the way to be a better person and to give back to your community, and you live the oath and the law that you've learned and learned to live by into adulthood? So that, I believe, is the end of my presentation on the Life to Eagle process. I encourage you to go ahead and download that checklist and read through it so that you know the process, and that you can use it to your advantage to make sure that the process is seamless. And know that there's a lot of volunteers and a lot of leaders out there that want to see your success and want to help you through this. So you're not in this alone, but you need to take the lead. And that is the most important thing that I would say to lead with on that. So your destiny is in your hands. So do any of you have any questions for me? I'm gonna how do I end sharing?
Stop sharing.
Oh, thank you. There we go. Hello.
Go ahead and stop your recording too.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Jennifer, there's a few things that